Sarah. So I thought I'd do a fun little video today. I haven't really done like a fun one quite yet, so I wanted to go ahead and do this one. I've been thinking a lot lately about books and their movie adaptations for some reason, just how they compare and things like that. And so I decided to look up books that are going to be turned into movies that are coming out, like that are already been optioned, they're already in development, like these movies are going to be happening. And I came across an article that lists 100 books that are going to be turned into movies soon. So I'll include a link to that down below if you want to check it out. But I was blown away by how many. I was like, holy crap, and a whole bunch I did not know about, like books that I loved that are being turned into movies that I didn't even know. And I was like, yes. So I want to talk about them real quick. First, I'm going to talk about books that I have already read that are being turned into movies, so what I'm most excited about. And then I'll go into some that are becoming movies that I have not read yet, but I'm going to read them. Like, they're on my list. I own them. They will be read sometime. And those have kind of started to take a little bit of priority on my TBR because I want to read them before I see the movies. I have to read the book before I see the movie, because if I see the movie first, I'm not going to read the book. There's maybe two exceptions to that, which is Outlander and Lone Survivor. Those are two books that I will read even though I've seen the movie and I've seen the show. But I still do want to read the books. But everything else, if I see the movie first, I'm not going to spend time reading the book, unfortunately. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's talk about books that I've already read that I'm very, very excited that they're being turned into movies. Okay, so the first book that I saw that I have already read that's being turned into a movie is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I'm so excited about this. I loved that book. We read it for a book club pick when we lived in Arizona, and I loved that book. I actually might reread that before I see the movie because it's been a while since I've read it, so I will probably need a refresher, but it's going to be a fantasy, and it's about the circus and things that kind of happen behind the scenes, and at night there's like battles and wars and lots of conflict and things like that between the circus acts. So I remember really coming out of that book just loving it, and like I said, I'll need a refresher, but I'm very excited about it. It's as of right now, it's still in development. They haven't even cast anybody as far as I can tell. I've done some research on it and I can't find anything yet, so I don't know who's going to be in it or when it's going to be coming out. They haven't really started into all that kind of stuff yet, but it's definitely going to happen, so I'm very excited about it. So that's my number one, like, most anticipated. Up next is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, and I just finished this book last month, and I really, really enjoyed it. And as of right now, it's still rumors, but two people that are attached to it as of right now is, I believe Emily Blunt is probably going to be playing Rachel, which is going to be very exciting because I love Emily Blunt. I think she's brilliant. And then Kate Mara is also on deck to play someone. I don't know who. I'm guessing maybe Megan or possibly Anna. I don't know which one of those characters. I'm thinking maybe Megan. But I'm very excited about that, and I hope that it's going to be as good as the book is, and that it kind of leaves you guessing till the end, which it kind of has to, I guess. But yeah, so I'm excited about that one as well. Okay, up next is 50 Shades Darker by E.L. James. So this is the second book in the 50 Shades of Grey series, and I'm excited about this one because the second book was my favorite of the trilogy. So yeah, I kind of had mixed feelings about the first movie. I felt like it was a little bit rushed. I think they tried to do it too fast, and they were trying to fit so much into so little time. And I think it could have been done a little bit better. It was very fast paced, and everything was like, whoa. I have heard that for the second movie, there's a different director. I think maybe the director for the first one was also an issue because she did not get along with the writer of the book. So they had a lot of personal conflicts and stuff. So I think that may have had a little bit of an effect on how the movie was made. So I'm hoping, I have high hopes that the second one will be better than the first one. And it was my favorite book of the trilogy because it goes much more into the psychology of everything and kind of unfolds more of the feelings of the situation and not just like this guy's crazy. He's into all the sex stuff and it's really creepy, but I love him anyway. It goes more into like the whys of everything. So that's why it was my favorite book. And yeah, so I'm excited. I will go see it. Jamie Dornan. Yes. Okay, next up is a book that is being turned into a TV series on Hulu. And that is the book 11/22/63 by Stephen King. And I loved this book. This is actually the only Stephen King book I've ever read. I've never read any of his other ones. And we read this one for my book club as well. We read some good book club stuff. And this is about a man who ends up time traveling back to the day that President Kennedy was assassinated. And he kind of finds himself in the situation in Dallas, and he ends up, finding the guy that assassinated Kennedy. What's his name? I can't even think of his name right now. But he ends up meeting him and going, holy crap, this is the guy that kills the president, and kind of following him around. And he struggles with himself to try to see if he should prevent it from happening, or if he can prevent it from happening. But if he does that, that's going to change history. So he's kind of like struggling internally with, do I stop this from happening because he kills a president, or should I let history stay the same and write it out, and all that stuff. So I really, really enjoyed this book. It's very long, but it's very good. It had me like on the edge of my seat a lot because I didn't know what he was going to do. And it had a lot of facts about, the situation, like the actual event that happened. So that was good. And this is being produced by James Franco, and he's also set to star in it. So that's going to be interesting as well. So I'm going to keep my eye on Hulu, and as soon as that comes out, I'll definitely be tuning into that. Okay, so next up is another book club book that I read. And it is called The Yellow Birds, written by Kevin Powers. And this one is about a wartime situation. Like, I think it was Iraq, I want to, been a while, Iraq or Afghanistan, one of the two. But Kevin Powers is actually a veteran who went to war, so he's kind of taking what he experienced there and put that into the story. So it is about two soldiers who end up kind of coming under the wing of one of their commanders, and they go through a bunch of stuff together. So I like wartime movies, especially ones that are more recent, like the more recent wars. My husband is in the Air Force. He has been in dangerous situations. He's not on the ground, he's in the air, but he has been, to dangerous places, to the point where I was, I was a little nervous about him going, but thank God he has been safe. But so I think the more recent wars are something I connect with a little bit more because my husband has been in some situations. So yeah. And this one is exciting because I have read the book and I did enjoy it. And Benedict Cumberbatch is actually going to be playing the commander, so that's exciting as well. I'm excited about that because I love him. Next up is, hey, guess what? Another book club book. Yep. And this one is called Brain on Fire, and it was written by Susanna Cahalan, I think. So this is actually a nonfiction. It's a memoir, and it is about a woman who was living her life normally. Everything was normal. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, she just had all these really weird symptoms, and it was very, very, very quick. Got her to the hospital, and her brain was swelling. And the doctors, it took them a really, really long time to figure out exactly what was going on, but one of the doctors described it as your brain being on fire. So she lost a lot of memory. She was losing a lot of her functioning. And it went into a lot of the medical stuff, which is important because, things were happening to her. But it was very interesting to see her go through this type of thing and how she handled it. And she was losing some memory and things like that. So it was very, very interesting. If I see this movie, it'll probably be like a DVD thing. I don't think I'll go to the theater and see it. But someone is signed on to play her, but it's not someone I'm familiar with. It's a younger person. I'm not 100% sure who it is. But if you look it up, I'm sure you'll see who it is. I didn't write her name down. But Yeah, so I think I would definitely be interested in seeing this movie. I did enjoy the book. I surprisingly enjoyed it. When I went into it, I wasn't I don't think it was something I would have picked up on my own, but someone picked it for book club, and then I ended up really enjoying it. So it was a nice surprise. Okay, so next up is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. And this one I'm a little, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much as some people did. So this is a nonfiction as well. It is about Jeanette's experience with growing up with her family and then being estranged from them, and then she ends up realizing her mother is homeless. And so it kind of goes through a lot of family struggles and things like that. I read this a very long time ago, so I don't, off the top of my head, remember exactly everything that happened. I remember not loving it as much as everyone else did. I was like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't, I don't rave about it. I don't want to read it again. I don't recommend it to my friends. Like, I don't know. I don't remember loving it as much as everyone else did. I don't really know why. I mean, there must have been a reason. Maybe because I didn't really connect with the characters that much, because I've never been in any type of situation like that. I've never had like terrible family conflicts or anything. So I don't know. But the reason, if I watch this movie, the reason I'd want to see it is because Jennifer Lawrence is going to be playing her. And I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think everything she does is brilliant. And yes, so she would be the reason I would watch this movie for sure. Okay, so next up is actually, I'm not finished with the series yet, but I recently read the first book in the trilogy, and that is the Shatter Me trilogy. I still have to read the other two books, but I'm going to for sure. Like, I'm going to try to do that this year. But this has just been optioned as a show for ABC, and they picked it up. So there's no casting or anything yet. It's still kind of in the very, very early stages of, hey, let's do this. So they're starting to get everything worked out. But I did enjoy the first one. I wasn't raving about it, but I did enjoy it, and I do want to continue with it, you know, to read the other two books and see what happens. And then when the show comes on, I'll kind of keep my eye out and see the previews and stuff. And if it looks like it's going to be well made, then, you know, I'll give it a try. But if it's ABC, I think it's probably going to be pretty good. So this one is a dystopian, and it's it follows this girl named Juliet, and she has a deadly touch. So if she touches somebody, like if she puts her hand on your arm, it could kill you. She doesn't understand it, and she doesn't touch anybody because of that. So she ends up in a prison, and kind of like their world is like, there's these rich people. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I just read it like a couple months ago. But these people who are in charge, and they're very rich, and they live in luxury and all that stuff. And then the people where she's living are kind of kept in poverty. So they kind of depend on the government, you know, self-proclaimed government there. So she ends up finding someone who she can touch, and it doesn't affect him at all. Like, she touches him and, you know, nothing happens. And so they form a bond, a good bond, a love bond. And then there's also conflict with the leader of the government guy, Warner, because there's something going on with him too, and he has a thing for her, and it's all love triangle-y. It's pretty cool. So I want to read the other two books because I want to see what happens with Warner. I think something's going to happen between him and her. And yeah, I think it's going to happen. But yeah, so this is being optioned. This has already been optioned for a TV series. So I'm going to keep my eye out for when that happens. I'm going to make sure I read the other two books first so I don't ever get spoiled. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. Okay, so last but not least is actually still a question. It's being rumored, and I guess it's kind of been out there for a while, but no one's quite picked it up yet. I think they're kind of just waiting for the right fit. I have heard that the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy is kind of being made available to be picked up to make maybe a movie. I think that would be phenomenal because I've only read the first book. I haven't read the other two yet. I really want to soon. But I think that the premise of this book and the series and everything, I think would be very beautiful on the big screen. I think they could do a lot of amazing things with it, just the way that the story's told and the characters that are developed and, you know, things like that. So I hope that this will be made into a movie, because if it will, I will definitely 100% go and see it. So I'm just going to keep my eye out and see if that ever happens. But yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a few books that I have not read yet that are being made into movies or already have been made into movies. And I'm excited because I would definitely want to read the book. I'd read the book anyway, but then I found out it was becoming a movie. Kind of made its way up on my TBR priority list. So got to read these first. First up is The Martian by Andy Weir. I just picked this book up recently at Hastings, and I've just heard really, really good things about it. And then when I saw the movie trailer, I was like, now I really want to read it really, really soon now. Matt Damon is in it. A lot of people are actually in it that I really like, so that's exciting. And yeah, so I also did hear somewhere that there were some spoilers for the book in the trailer, but I don't know. I didn't get that, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read the book yet, so maybe when I read it, I'll go, oh. But I mean, it's just a movie trailer, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm very excited, so I definitely want to read that this year. The movie comes out, I believe, in October, from what I remember. I'm pretty sure it comes out sometime in October, so yes, very, very, very excited. So next up is Inferno by Dan Brown. Now this is the 4th book in his Robert Langdon series. They made the first 2 books into movies. They made Angels and Demons and The Da Vinci Code into movies. They did not make the 3rd one, The Lost Symbol, into a movie. And I read somewhere that it was because, it's been a while since I read The Lost Symbol, but The Lost Symbol was kind of not a huge story on its own. It was a lot of things from both of the first 2 books, so I think I read somewhere that they kind of felt it would be a little bit too repetitive to make into a movie. So they stopped that. They didn't make a movie out of that one. But this one they're going to make a movie out of. Tom Hanks is going to be coming back as Robert Langdon. Ron Howard's going to be directing it. So, yeah. So I need to read it because I actually pre-ordered that book when it first came out 2 years ago. And I was so excited when I got it, and it's still sitting on my shelf, and I haven't even touched it yet. So I got to read that here pretty soon so that I have that story, and Robert Langdon is fresh in my mind because I really enjoy that series. So yeah, got to get on Inferno for sure. Okay, so the next one is a TV show, and it's going to be based on the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. The show's going to be called Shadowhunters, and I've only read the first book. I've only read City of Bones. I have all the rest of them. So I want to continue with it. I remember really, really enjoying City of Bones. I did not like the movie that much, even though one of my loves, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, is in it. But the movie just wasn't that great. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the movie. But I will check out the TV show for sure. I do want to read the series first. I should probably get on that because they've already started filming it. So I don't know when it's going to be coming on. But and I think it's going to be on the CW from what I remember. It's going to be on that channel. So yeah, so I got to get on that because I want to give the show a try and see how it goes. I don't know how they're going to do it as far as I don't know if the first season is going to follow the first book and then so on and so on. That would kind of make some sense, but since they already made the movie, I don't know if they're going to just pick up from there or not. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I haven't read anything about that yet. But yeah, I have all 5 of the other books, so I need to get on that. Yep, need to get on that one too. Okay, next up is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I just recently picked up this book at Walmart, and I've heard nothing but good things. I don't think I've heard a single bad review of this book. The only kind of negative things I've heard is that it's very political, but a lot of people were actually enjoying that, and that's a big premise of this book because it is about a girl who is raised in captivity, not captivity, but seclusion, I guess, and then she has to go back to her home, where she's never really been and doesn't remember, and take over as queen. And she's kind of like, what's going on? So she's trying to figure out who she can trust and what she's supposed to do, and things like that to take over. I've heard really, really good things. Like I said, I do own the book. It's on my bookshelf, so I gotta pick it up and read it soon because Emma Watson is playing the main character, which I think her name was Kelsey. Kelsey. So Emma Watson's playing her, and I love Emma Watson so much. So yes, and the second book just came out too, Invasion of the Tearling. So gotta read the first one and then possibly grab the second one. If I like the first one, I'll grab the second one and then see the movie. So yeah. Okay, so next up is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I don't know if it's Gillian or Jillian. I need to find an interview with her where she says it correctly so that I know what to say. But her, Gone Girl person. So I have her other two books. I have Dark Places, I have Sharp Objects, and I have not picked up either one yet. But Dark Places is already out. It came out last month in June. And Charlize Theron is in it. And someone else that I've heard of, but I don't remember her name. But this follows a family, a girl whose family is brutally murdered, and she goes on trial and says that her brother did it. I guess there's like evidence or kind of undeniable things that points to her brother, so she goes on trial and says, yes, my brother did it. And then this, I think it time jumps, and hey, guess what? People are trying to get him off, you know, saying he didn't do this and we can prove it. So it goes into all that, trying to figure out exactly what happened and what she couldn't remember. So I'm guessing it's going to be a psychological thriller. So I'm excited to read it. I do want to read her other books because Gone Girl is one of my all-time favorites for sure. So I want to see what else she has written. So and since that is already a movie, I need to get on that. I'm not going to go to the theater and see it. I don't even think it's in the theater anymore, at least not where I live. So it'll have to be a DVD movie for me, but I do want to read it for sure. So I'm gonna try to get to that soon. So next up is another book that I recently picked up, and it's Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And I've heard, again, nothing but good things about this one. This one is kind of a dystopian type, and it's there's a whole lot of video game references and things like that. So I've heard like it brings out your inner nerd, which is fun. A lot of like 80s references and things like that, which I'll probably get a lot of that. And it's kind of like a treasure hunt type thing. So it's a society that's kind of gone to crap, and a billionaire ends up dying, but in his will or something, he leaves what they're calling an Easter egg somewhere in their society, and whoever finds it will like get his inheritance and all that stuff. So I guess it just follows a whole bunch of people trying to find this thing and using strategies and kind of going on this treasure hunt. So it sounds really, really interesting. I'm really excited to read it. I need to read it soon. It is going to be a movie. It has not been cast yet, but Steven Spielberg is directing it. So that makes me very happy, because if Steven Spielberg signs on to anything, I'm usually all in. So yes, going to get to that one soon as well. Okay, so this is the last one I'm going to talk about. This is a book that I own that I have not read yet, but I have heard people just completely swearing by this book. I don't even know what it's about, which I'm kind of happy. I want to go into it blind. But it is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And I read a book by her earlier this year that I really enjoyed. And I have this book on my Kindle, I just haven't read it yet, but my mom, you know, was raving about it, and if my mom likes something, I'm usually going to like it as well. But yeah, just people completely raving, and I have no clue what it's about, so I can't even give you a premise, but I do know it's going to be made into a movie, and I don't know who is going to be acting in it. But yeah, so I'm going to read that soon too. And this one's actually a little bit shorter from what I can tell, at least on my Kindle. It doesn't look like it's very long, so I should get to that soon, because it shouldn't take me too long to read that. But hey guys, so that is all of the movies that are being based off of books that I'm very excited that are going to be upcoming. If you guys know of any other ones, or if you have any that I haven't mentioned that you're excited about, or if I have mentioned that you're excited about, let me know in the comments. I'd love to get some more ideas of what's coming out. This is just what I found on this website, so yeah, but go check it out. There's 100 of them, so a lot of them I haven't even heard of or not interested in. But yeah, so let me know your opinions as well. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you again soon. Bye.